Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is HD Starcraft, and I'm here for Game 5 between Team Liquid and Team Millennium from the Team Story Cup. And it is time for LiquidHero to make his appearance. A wild LiquidHero has appeared, and he is going to be playing up against, of course, Millennium's 4GG, who defeated Tasia. I mean, I couldn't believe it. But he did it in a Terran versus Terran, which I feel like is Tasia's best matchup. But yeah, that was incredible. And now it is time for 4GG to go up against the next ace player, if you will, from Team Liquid. It is, of course, Liquid's hero. 4GG is going to be the red Terran player in the top left-hand corner, and his opponent is going to be the blue Protoss player in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. Is Belshir Vestige, and this should be a good one. You know, Hero is an incredible Protoss player. He's been with Team Liquid for a long time, originally coming from Team OGS, and he is just a powerhouse Protoss player. You know what? I'm really interested to see how he plays out this PvT. I haven't seen too many PvTs lately, so this should be an interesting one just to get up to date with the metagame here in Protoss versus Terran today. You know, the thing about Protoss versus Terran that is really popular from the games that I've casted is, you know, Mothership Core aggression is really nice. You can open up with a Gateway Mothership Core, kind of like a Naniwa style on one base, and be aggressive with a couple of Zealots, a Stalker, and a Mothership Core against Terran, and really put the hammer down. And you can also go into a very quick Oracle with the Stargate. And Terrans, I mean, their worst nightmare these days is Oracle. It is one of the most fearsome units, you know, in existence. Some Terrans have different ways of combating Oracle. Some go right away for the missile turrets. Some will go for a Widow Mine and plant it down behind the mineral lines. And some will just try to rely solely on Marines to deal with the Oracle, which I think is very hard to do. But regardless, yeah, it's very interesting. Terran versus Protoss these days it's a whole new landscape. Not to mention, Widow Mines are super good against Protoss. They're like doubly effective against shields. So yeah, it's very nice, and of course, one Widow Mine can kill off a Stalker by itself. So that's how, and a Zealot, that's how good they are. That supply depot blockage was really nice from 4GG. He didn't want to let any unit come inside to scout his main base. So for now, it is in the darkness, and we do have a probe hiding up here from Hero. Uh-oh, is he planning something? Is he gonna, what the heck is my computer doing? Is he planning to throw down some type of proxy pylon? We do have a one gate opening, almost like, you know, pretty much like a one gate, one cybernetics core opening, which is what you'd expect to see in Protoss vs. Terran. But is he planning to do anything here crazy? Because he does have this probe hiding up here at the top. And if he decides to throw a pylon down, I mean, I'm thinking right here a couple of things. He could proxy a Stargate. He could just throw a pylon to be able to warp in units nearby the Terran base, because he does have Warp Gate coming, although it is a long ways away. Interesting, he's not using Chrono Boost on the Warp Gate. Rather, he's Chrono Boosting a Mothership Core here. And I think he's going to try to be aggressive with a couple of early units, you know, a Zealot, a Stalker, and a Mothership, like I said before. But no, he is going to go ahead and expand. So, you know, I thought for a second their hero might do something crazy, but given that he's going for a Nexus now, I don't think so anymore. Although, man, would it be such a surprise to throw like a proxy building right here of some sort. In the back, we do have a pretty quick Robo coming up from Hero. Didn't expect to see a Robo coming up that early on, but that is going to allow him to get an Observer out right away to combat Widow Mines, which nowadays, you know, it is one of the primary things that Protoss have to be worried about. This Stalker does run up into this this Marine army, but with the Zealot coming in to reinforce as well, I think Hero will be all right. He should be able to. He's gonna have to micro, but Tasia's 4GG's micro just a little bit better, and is able to take out the Zealot and the Stalker before the Mothership Core could come in to reinforce. And that was a mistake by Hero. Usually, when you open up with that early aggression, you want to bring in the Mothership Core, the Zealot, and the Stalker all together. And that looks like that poor probe just died at the front door as well. But yeah, you want to bring those three units in together. If you bring them in one at a time, then that Marine army can take you down, and that is not a good start for Hero. You know, 4GG once again with a really good opening to this game. Killing off a Zealot, killing off a Stalker, and now going to settle down and get his expansion. So a really nice start to the game right there from 4GG. I mean, just totally shutting down the early aggression that that Hero is trying to go for. I mean, this is why you go for, you know, Gateway, Cybercore, and then expand it in Protoss versus Terran, is because you want to be aggressive with a couple of early units and try to delay that expansion from coming out. Unfortunately, Hero hasn't been able to do it. I mean, I almost feel like he would have been better off just opening like a Nexus first or something, which on this map is a little hard to do, but you know, against 4GG, who hasn't been aggressive at all, probably would have been a better opening. Anyways, we do have that Observer, early obs coming in here. Gonna see more barracks coming, so from there he can deduce that it is going to be a bio-based play from 4GG. We are seeing a reactor coming up as well. Just because you see a lot of barracks coming up these days against with Terran versus Protoss doesn't mean it's always bio, though. It can be a little bit of mech too with Widow Mines, and that's what we see here. 4GG plopping down a couple of mines. And that mine, it kills off one probe. A great spread of the probes here. Look at how all the probes are spread out from Hero. Just really mitigating damage as much as he can. And I think he only lost a few probes here, just 2. Well, actually only 1, because one of those probes was one that died at the ramp earlier on. And that medevac carrying the troops, carrying the mines, also goes down as well. So photon overcharge and a little bit of mothership core action for the defense. And Hero holds off the enemy assault. And now I like how he's got, oh, this is great. He's got an Observer hiding right between the main and the natural at very, very high levels of StarCraft 2. This is where you want to plop the Observer down, but most Terran players know that this is a very popular place for an ob. So I think 4GG, yeah, he knows. You know, and I was going to say, at the really high levels of StarCraft 2, a lot of Protoss players don't even throw the obs here anymore because it's just such an obvious spot to check for an Observer, and all you have to do is kind of zoom your camera in and you can see it. Unfortunately for Hero there, he does lose his Observer. He did get great intelligence though before it went down, and he saw the mostly bio strategy coming out of 4GG, and so he's going to be adding on a robotic support bay here in order to go to Colossus. Colossus is the very hard counter, obviously, to Marines. It just completely rips Marines to shreds. We'll see if he can get the Colossus out in time, because it looks like 4GG might be preparing for some type of an attack here. That another Observer looks like it just went down to that missile turret. And here comes this Marine army. It is no stim. Nope. They do have combat shields, but stim isn't done yet. I don't think 4GG should attack before stim finishes. Before, you know, it's still a few seconds away from finishing, so I don't think he should go in yet. Especially not with that Nexus being overcharged by the mothership core. So 4GG kind of getting a little bit ahead of himself, but wisely pulls away and waits for Stimpack to finish. +1 weapons would be another great upgrade to have done as well, and that will take another 20 seconds of delay. And that, I think, is going to allow Hero enough time to get more forces on the field. Right now, he desperately needs his Colossus out, and there it goes. The Colossus is out. It doesn't have extended thermal lances yet, but just the presence of the Colossus, I think, you know, is going to be able to scare these Marines away. And they're already running for the hills, man. They are trying to get out of here. And it looks like they are going to stim up here, but with the Colossus coming in and force fields coming down, it looks like these Marines are going to just get the hell out of there. So those force fields, unfortunately for Hero, ended up just barely missing that Marine army. And he threw all 3 down at once. I mean, just goes to show he was trying to cut that army and keep half of them in range of the Colossus. Unfortunately, it didn't play out that way. We do have Hellbats coming out from 4GG right now, and Hellbats are just a great unit overall. You know, against Protoss, Hellbats completely counter charge lots. I mean, like, completely shut them down, to the point where Charge Lot Archon, it's not so popular of a strategy anymore against Terran, simply because of the presence of the Hellbat. You can still pull it off, but man, Hellbats just completely demolish Zealots like they weren't even there. So I do like how 4GG is adding in a couple of Hellbats now, just in case of, you know, of a heavy charge lot army from Hero. And looks like that Marine is going to get taken out. Just in scouting presence. One Zealot is also going to get taken out, so the basic core unit for both sides is eliminated at the 3rd expansion. Both players going to be expoing pretty close to the same time, although obviously Hero has to deal with Protoss summoning time. And I do like how Hero's throwing up these pylons as well. Just great to scout the edges of this map, because that's where medevacs typically take their dropping lanes. Anyways, 4GG here with a pretty large bio army with Hellbats mixed in. They are considered bio units, of course. and they are just a great add-on to the standard Marine Marauder. Hero is going to need a heavy Colossus army in order to counter this, I feel like. Storm isn't a bad idea either. He is going for charge right now to add on a couple of charge lots into his army. You know, having some is not a bad idea, but if the Hellbats get too large in number, then charge lots become really neutered. And now Hero might have to defend here. There are a couple of Vikings in the air. Great time warp right there, just completely hitting the Marines and Marauders, and force fields coming down as well. Not the best force fields. Could have cut more Marines and Marauders off, I feel like, but Hero probably deciding to not bite off more than he can chew, and he does pull back. I think overall, 4GG coming ahead in that engagement. Even though he was under the effects of Time Warp, he didn't get cut off by the force fields as badly as he could have, and he was able to pull the majority of his Marines and Marauders and Hellbats back, and the reinforcement stream just continues on. Current upgrades at 2-1 for the bio, 2-2 for Hero, so Hero standing a little bit taller in the upgrades. And Hero, if he can get Templar Archives down, I think that's going to sway the momentum of this game largely. If he can get some Templars out and get some Archons, or even drop some Storms down on this Marine Marauder Hellbat ball, then he should be able to hold this off. But I don't know, man. This is such a big army, and it doesn't look like he's going to get Templars out in time. And 4GG, I mean, he's at 172 supply already. He's just completely crushing Hero. I mean, what is going on? 4GG crushes Tasia, and now it's just Raffle stomping Hero. He's gonna take out the Nexus in the bottom left-hand corner, and his forces on this map, you don't get cornered in. You can just get out of there. A Time Warp field does come down, but it isn't going to be enough to stop the retreat of these forces, and they are out of there. Meanwhile, a couple of Zealots warping in through this pylon, presumably to attack this expansion, but there are a few Hellbats there, so I don't think those charge lots are going to get much done. And here you see how effective Zealots are against Hellbats. Not very effective. Actually, they did pretty good there, surprisingly. LP Zealots, I guess. But in mass battles, like when there's a lot of charge lots and a lot of Hellbats, it's almost like the charge lots, they run in and then they die. They melt like instantaneously. So I guess that wasn't the best example, but that pylon is going to go down. And 4GG here, I mean, just looking incredible. 190 supply to 140. He's got a base advantage over Hero. He just killed off this base, forcing him to rebuild it. And at this point, what can Hero do? You know, he's sticking with a very traditional Protoss ground-based army. You know, there are some arguments, I guess, to try out Protoss Air. I feel like Skytoss is better against Zerg than it is against Terran, but, you know, you can work against Terran as well. If you can get some carriers out, I mean, carriers are really good against Terran. If he can get some carriers out, I think he could do a lot of damage to this army. There really isn't that much anti-air. But that's, you know, how is he going to be able to afford it? He's just now re-gotten his third base, so that's pretty far-fetched, I feel. Anyways, 4GG here thinking about coming in with a right-hand attack here with a couple of medevacs, splitting his army into two different directions. The Mothership Core just now going down, and this could be the battle to determine the victor of this game. Obviously, 4GG with all the momentum on his side, and this army is just gonna, yeah, it's gonna rip through the Robo Bay, and probably going to take out the Nexus and a couple of gateways as well. Meanwhile, Hero just says, screw it, I'm going to go for an attack now. It's now or never. And he's going to come in with everything. See how the Zealots just get almost all roasted, but there are quite a few Colossus and Stalkers to back him up. And actually, 4GG is in retreat here. And in the meantime, no Mothership Core to bring back the Protoss army, so the entire Protoss infrastructure is gutted. And Hero just knows now that this is it, man. He's got to go for this attack. Either he wins the game here with this push, or he doesn't. And he's going for it. He's not even making a Dark Shrine right now because he thinks the game could go down to that point where DTs could make all the difference. I mean, he's got a lot of Colossus here. And SCVs are now being pulled off the line as well. Could Hero actually make a comeback push for the win? I mean, this is incredible. If he pulls this off, this is just going to be the sickest victory of all time. Meanwhile, the Marines and Marauders, they've taken out the Protoss main base, now going for the natural expansion. Obviously, these Colossus have to be careful because that planetary fortress is being repaired by SCVs. They will need to use the extended thermal lance in order to laser it down from a distance. It looks like Hero gonna try to go for the, for the easier target right now. I mean, why not take candy from a baby rather than trying to take it from the bully? So he is gonna go for the SCVs on the right-hand side. Meanwhile, this Terran army looks like it's gonna be recalled back home. Photon Cannon Grid being erected to protect the final expansion of Hero. Hero did make a Dark Shrine, although I'm not sure where its current location is. He must have hit it somewhere on the map. It looks like there it is right there. So the Dark Shrine is being made on the new base, and Hero, I mean, with this push, incredible game sense. I mean, that's just amazing StarCraft right there. How many players right there with the guts to say, all right, I'm just gonna push, and this is the best way for me to win this game. And I think in a way he's fought himself back. I mean, he's closer to winning this game now than he was 5 minutes ago, for sure. Hero, I mean, he's got a lot of Colossus on the field. He needs to make, I mean, DTs right now would be so good, considering the fact that, how many orbitals are there? There are 2 orbital commands only, so there really isn't that much comsat to go around. I actually think Hero could, pull himself back into this game. I mean, he already has, but I really think he could actually win this game. He needs to get another expansion, though. I mean, this is pretty brutal. I do like how he sends a DT over here to this orbital command. Gonna try to shut down the mining operations here, but the entire army has come through. And now with the DT being revealed, I almost feel like, I don't know, has it done enough damage? Probably not, although 53 SCVs have been killed this game. I must have missed a lot of SCV killings, although most of them did happen at the big battle with the Colossus and the SCVs, the War of the Worlds. But this is gonna come down to the wire, ladies and gentlemen. I do think 4GG still has the edge. Obviously, I mean, he has a mining base. He could have another mining base too once he brings one of his orbital commands over. He could lift this orbital command off and bring it over here, for example, and get another mining base pretty easily, whereas Hero will have to build a new nexus. So that's one disadvantage for Protoss. And right now 4GG is threatening to make a pretty large attack here. He's going to open up the surface area by destroying the rocks, and I don't know how Hero is going to be able to hold this off. This is a big army. He's going to sacrifice the warp gates, it looks like. Going to use Photon Overcharge here. He needs to bring his army in position, but he just lost 3 warp gates. And I actually feel like 4GG can just pull back. He doesn't need to force the engagement. Killing off a couple of warp gates there is invaluable in a spot like this where the Protoss really, I think this is the only warp gate that is functional right now for the Protoss. No, he has 2 more in the back, so he's got 3 warp gates total. He basically just halved LiquidHero's production. I mean, that's pretty huge. Meanwhile, a Zealot and a DT off on their lone selves, trying to snipe off additional forces, and a couple of Zealots getting a little bit ahead of themselves, and these Colossus have to be super careful. If any Colossus get picked off here, I mean, it could just spell disaster. 4GG just has such a large army. Checking the upgrades here, 2-3 against 3-3, so the Protoss have a few more upgrades, but oh my god, the Viking squad from out of nowhere just comes in. That's like 13 Vikings, I don't know, but that's more than enough to take out these Colossus. And I think Hero is going to have to surrender. 4GG is going to take out the 2 ace players from Team Liquid. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. 4GG does the unthinkable. And meanwhile, though, I mean, he's not out of the woods yet, I guess, because there is still a DT going rampage mode inside the Terran base. It's got like 15 kills. Rampage. In the meantime here, I guess Hero's just going to try to rely on Dark Templar and, guerrilla warfare here to stay in this game. And he knows there is so many orbital commands. There's only 2, but they've saved up a lot of energy. So, I mean, that's at least 3 or 4 comsats that Hero's going to have to dodge. Does he have enough DTs within himself to survive and play this kind of guerrilla warfare strategy? I don't think so. I mean, there's just too many orbitals with too much energy. I mean, that's at least 6 or 7 comsats, right? So, yeah, it's looking pretty bleak here for Hero. But he hasn't given up yet. Another DT just got picked off there. The thing is, though, Hero has a almost unlimited supply of DTs because he's still mining out of this base with the double gases, and that's like the only unit he's making right now. It's just like solely relying on Dark Templars. So we'll see, we'll see. He's attacking the front. Oh, if he could take out this orbital, that would be so big. That's like That's like half the comsats stored up inside this orbital command, but Hero cannot get it done. He gets surrounded by Marines and Marauders. I mean, literally, if he could take out this orbital, that is huge. Meanwhile, a DT going around the left-hand side here, but no, Hero has to GG. Hero has to GG. I guess he just felt like, you know, it was him against the world, and I mean, you know, almost coming back during this game. I mean, just a sick base trade with those Colossus, and then, you know, I guess 4GG just had a little bit too much of an edge there, but 4GG has taken out the 2 ace players from Team Liquid here. Unbelievable. The series is now 4-1, so Team Millennium is just stomping Team Liquid right now. We'll see what happens in the next game. Stay tuned, guys. This is HD, and I am signing out.